Good Sunday morning, I'm Jordyn Elston. This morning's top stories are just seconds away, but first, WSFA First Alert meteorologist Lee Southwick is tracking your Sunday forecast. Good morning, Lee.
Good morning, Jordyn. It's a up.
All right, thanks so much, Lee. We have a breakthrough in a decades-old cold case that came earlier this month. We told you an arrest had been made identifying Coley McCraney as the possible killer of high school students J.B. Beasley and Tracy Hollett in Ozark. Now McCraney is being held without bond. Family and friends came together Saturday to show support for McCraney by hosting a prayer vigil. April Beckham was there and shows us how the family is supporting McCraney.
Family and friends from all over.
The family is hosting another prayer vigil at their house on April 2nd. That's one day before a preliminary hearing in the case. The number of people flying in and out of the Montgomery Regional Airport is increasing, and numbers from the airport show air traffic is up. According to the airport, there was an 11% increase in passengers from 2017 to 2018. In just the first 2 months of 2019, the airport has seen over 55,000 passengers. That's 28% more passengers than the airport saw this time last year.
It's been the strongest showing we've had in maybe 5 years. More passengers mean more seats, mean more flights, mean more routes, more options. I mean, that's what gets the airline's attention, is filling the seats. So it's all good news for the airport.
If the trend does continue, there's a possibility that some new destinations will be added. Turning now to national news, a new migrant caravan has left the capital of El Salvador en route to the United States. They are defying threats from President Trump to close the border between the United States and Mexico, and the president is pressuring Central American countries to stop the flow of migrants north into Mexico. The State Department says it will move to cut aid to El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras at the President Trump's direction. A suspect has been charged with murder and kidnapping in the death of a 21-year-old University of South Carolina student. Police say Samantha Jofinson thought Nathaniel Rowland was her Uber driver. Jofinson was last seen Friday after at 2 a.m. outside of a bar popular among college students. Her body was found by hunters on Friday afternoon off of a dirt road in a wooded area in Clarendon County, South Carolina. Rowland was arrested following a brief foot chase around 3 a.m.
We believe that she simply mistakenly got into this particular car thinking it was an Uber ride. She opened the door and got into it and departed with the suspect driving.
Now, Rowland has been charged with murder and kidnapping. Student Health Services at the University of South Carolina is offering counseling services to students who may need it. New details this morning. Georgia's heartbeat abortion bill is one step closer to becoming law. Pro-life supporters say abortions wouldn't be allowed in the state if a doctor detects a fetal heartbeat, which can happen as early as 6 weeks. The Republican majority House approved the Living Infants Fairness and Equality Act. The bill will now go to the governor's desk for final approval. The ACLU of Georgia says it will take action if the bill becomes law. Meanwhile, government leaders in Alabama are also discussing an abortion ban. Representative Terry Collins says this Tuesday she plans to introduce legislation to make it a felony to perform an abortion at any stage of pregnancy, unless the mother's health is in question. She says the goal is for the U.S. Supreme Court to revisit and overturn Roe v. Wade. 4 weeks after tornadoes ripped into Lee County, Alabama, FEMA is closing its disaster recovery centers this weekend. Workers have been meeting with storm victims at 2 locations since shortly after the March 3rd devastation. Both the Smith Station and Beauregard locations closed Saturday evening. The Small Business Administration is opening what it calls a disaster loan outreach center Monday for those who still have concerns. And here's a heartwarming story also out of Lee County. A wounded veteran can now get around much easier thanks to the donation of a $16,000 all-terrain wheelchair. The donation is a result of a partnership between the Independence Fund, a national nonprofit assisting wounded veterans, and Auburn University's Kappa Alpha Order. Saturday, medically retired U.S. Army wounded veteran Carlton Berry was presented with an all-terrain tracked wheelchair.
It'll definitely benefit me a lot and stuff, and I was kind of glad. It definitely brightened my day when they told me I was getting one, because I was like, okay, now I can get around a lot more and stuff, and then just going hunting and stuff out in the woods. It's a lot more mobile than being in a regular wheelchair and stuff, so I'm definitely excited about it and definitely ready to see how it works.
Now this year, 9 chapters of Kappa Alpha are raising money for these wheelchairs, with Auburn being the first to reach their goal. Such a sweet story. Now something not so sweet. Some of us probably heard some rumbles overnight while some storms passed over us. WSFA First Alert meteorologist Lee Southwick is in with this morning's forecast coming up next.
Drying out again by Tuesday afternoon, and Wednesday back to sunny and 75.
Well, I know that you're saying, we might see some rain later on and definitely some cold weather, but I don't think that the rain and the cold is going to stop Auburn fans from going to Toomer's Corner if they win today. So I'm definitely excited to see what happens. They might just bring their umbrellas and their toilet paper all together.
We have a live cam, and I think we should sit up there and watch it
We
happen. Let's
should definitely watch it. That's going to be exciting to see. Thanks so much, Lee. Coming up after the break in this morning's sports drill, a preview of Auburn's Elite 8 matchup against SEC opponent Kentucky. Plus, both the Tide and the Tigers are on the spring practice field. We'll check in with both teams coming up next. Physicians groups have long taken a stand against high consumption of sugary drinks in the United States, and now they're calling for several policies to limit access to sugar-sweetened beverages among children and teens. Meredith Wood has more in today's Health Watch. In more health news, Narcan can now be obtained in vending machines in the Las Vegas Valley. Narcan blocks the effects opioids have on the body and in some cases prevents an overdose. Being able to quickly get a hold of this medication can literally be the difference between life and death.
So Narcan, with it becoming more readily available in Nevada, it's being used more often, and we're seeing a lot of reversals of overdoses.
These machines will also eventually have other health-related items like hygiene kits, safe sex kits, and pregnancy tests. But right now, only Narcan. And a new study shows Americans are changing the way they think about e-cigarettes. The study was published Friday, and they found that between 2012 and 2017, the number of people who believe that e-cigarettes are equally as bad as regular cigarettes went up. In one study, the number more than tripled in those years. According to researchers, the changing public perception of e-cigarettes could benefit teens and young adults the most. They say youth who have negative views of the product are less likely to use them. And as we get on into our Sunday morning, we're just now starting to dry out. Lee has our last look at our forecast coming up next. All right, sounds good. We will not have a 5 o'clock show today, but we will be back tonight at 10, so make sure you tune in. We're going to have a lot of really good updates. Thanks so much for watching.